Hello everybody and welcome back to end of session markups for the 4th of July. So let's get right to it. What you see on your charts is the 4H. Actually it's the daily, and what we see over here is basically that the price is stuck between the demand and the supply range, right? So there's not much going on the daily time frame. Price pushed up, reacted a little bit, pushed up again, got some sort of rejection, so it's sort of stuck between this range. It did not break out. Once it breaks out, we'll get a little bit more exciting price action. But till then, today we were just stuck here. Let's go to 4H. So what's happening on 4H, right? So again, push up, pull back, and then push up. That's the expectations, right? We could have a protected low over here. We had the 4H chalk. We had the 1H boss. It went up on the range of the 1H. So for example, over here, if you see this range, right, before it broke the structure over here, this was the range, right? So we were in discount, so we had a push, we had the boss over there, price pulled back, did not mitigate really the demand over here, mitigated something on the left, but it did come down to the equilibrium of that range, and then it sort of pushed up and we had a break of structure on 1 hour. So once you had that break of structure, your new low would be right here. So that's your protected low. At this point in time, you had your boss, and that's your protected high, weak high. So what is the expectations now from price, right? And we'll go to 1H for that explanation. Let's move there. Okay, so 1H, once you have a boss, right, the expectation is that we will have a pullback, right? We started the day over here around this time frame, and I'll go over this price action and go into 15 minutes. There was a beautiful entry if you're a 5-minute trader. But I'm not a 5-minute trader, so for me, nothing showed up on 15 minutes, so I was not part of this trade. But 5 minutes, guys, you all made a 10-hour, so that's great. Anyway, so what happened here was, let me zoom a little bit more. Okay, so when we came in this morning, around here, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, I started looking at the charts. And I noticed that this supply zone, this pivot candle was formed by sweeping these equal highs, right? So it had some level of liquidity swept, and then it broke down some internal structure over here, right? So I was waiting for price to come back in to see if it gives me more sells, right? Again, what is it that we were wanting to do, right? So if there is a 1H zone, a supply or demand, whenever price comes into it, you wait for confirmation. You look at your entry models and see if it's going to if a trade is going to present itself, and then you take it. If the trade does not present itself, you stay out, and that's how you save yourself losses, right? So when price came down, went back in again, did not give me anything. It came back, and then it had a big London push, right? So it had a big push. And what it did was it took this demand, and then we were left with this newly formed demand zone. Sorry, it broke that supply, and we were left with this newly formed demand zone, which was formed by sweeping all of this liquidity here. So for me, this PY becomes high probability, right? Let's look at 15 minutes. Okay, so here, this is the PY that I was talking about, formed from sweep of liquidity. It broke down, it went in, never really gave me any sort of good model setup for my 15-minute entry, broke down, and then it had a push, completely wiped out this demand, this supply, and gave me a new flip zone, right? So this is an actual flip zone because it flipped the supply, and this becomes the new demand. Now, also, if you were to look at this, what is the objective, right? So, you should always ask yourself, why are you getting involved in trade? And what is the objective? Why is price moving the way it is, and where is it going to go? If if you answer yourself, the price is going up because I have a very strong gut feel, then that gut feel is going to punch you very hard in the gut, and it will be quite painful, right? What you want to do is make sure that you add up as many confluences that brings the probability on your side to win when you place that bet on that trade, right? So that gives you an edge of winning. And you just don't go blindly betting into and putting risk entries in positions which are low probability. So in this case, this high, if you want to call this a high because it was a sweep range, but this high failed to do its job. It did not break anything, right? And it failed to break. So this demand tried go up, did not, tried to go up, did not, then it pushed up. So this became my zone. And since this, and it started giving me internal shocks here, but since this high did not break anything constructive, no significant lows, then for me, this high and this suddenly becomes weak. And which is correct because we are part of the pullback, right? Pullback phase. Pullback phase has to run. It came into an equilibrium. And this is the new range that I've drawn. But in the previous range, it came to the equilibrium of that range, and now it started pushing upwards. So when price started creeping back over here, and this is now interesting, which is where the 5-minute entry came in with confirmation. I saw that my chalk for a 15-minute was quite low because I was still looking at this demand to see if there's any unfilled orders, even though I knew that this was going to get run, but maybe we can play a quick scalp, 3-4 hour maybe, right? But my chalk was pretty far off. So when price started to coming in here and it started rejecting, because, and I'll tell you the reasons why, because this is a flip zone, it flipped this supply. It broke out pretty aggressively, which means there could be plenty of orders over here still remaining, which are not fulfilled. And we know the fact that we are in a bullish market, the price is moving up, we just had a boss, the pullback is complete, and now we are aiming for the next boss. So the price is going to push up. So for me, those are a lot of confluences that indicate that the price is going up. Now, when price was rejecting these zones over here, and I quickly went into 5-minute, even though I don't trade 5-minute, and I trade 5-minute very rarely. I stick to my 15-minute bread and butter time frame. But in this case, what happened? When price moved in, yes, my chalk was way up here on the 5-minute, right? So instead of, with all the confluences that I'm looking for a buy over here, 15 minutes did not give me any opportunity, but within 5 minutes, this was the chalk over here. So when this chalk happened, right, this was the last pivot candle. It went up, right? This is the demand zone where the price retraced back into this last pivot candle. So this candle over here is already mitigated, and then it went up, and then we had the chalk over here. So what was left? It was this candle that was unmitigated and left, right? Which means now you have a 5-minute chalk, anticipating a 15-minute, anticipating a 1-inch boss, which at the end of the day should break the 4H. Ideally, if you want to look at it this way, but we're going to have a lot of pullbacks before we get the 4H breaks because the range is so huge, right? So what am I saying here? This is the chalk. Price went in, came back, went in, struggling to close below, came back down, went up. This is the demand zone over here. So price came up, reacted to this, went back up, 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 up. We had a chalk over here, the 5-minute chalk. Price came back into this candle, and then boom, we had that trade. So let me delete that and show you what I'm talking about right there. So we had the 5-minute chalk, we had the flip that swept. So basically this demand, let me draw this for you guys. So this supply, sorry, I keep saying demand, this supply over here reacted and then it failed, right? So leaving back a flip zone that also swept over here, right? So if you look at this, let let me zoom that out a little bit more. So if you look at this, it went up, went down, went up, went down, swept this. So this flip zone is also a sweep zone, which makes it very high probability with all the confluences we have attached. You put your entry model over there, entry at 25%, stop loss slide below the 1 pip, 1.5 pip to make sure that the spreads are covered below the low of this candle, and that's it. You wait. I got tagged in, and it was an easy sell after easy buy. After this broke, I was at break even. Again, I keep saying I was forward paper testing this because I don't take 5-minute entries, but this area here would be a break even. Once your break even, price never came back, you can target fix 3-hour, 4-hour, 5-hour, 10-hour. In this case, I knew that the high was weak, so I targeted above, and then it was a very easy 10-hour setup. So that's how you guys get 10 hours, right? So this was a very nice, clean setup if you were trading the 5-minute with all the confluences in place. We had the 1-inch flip zone over here, a very nice demand. Price pulled in really nicely. We saw the rejections. We are in a bullish trend. Price did meet the equilibrium on the 1H, and it is still pushing upwards. So the high is weak with the anticipation of it'll break structure. We get a nice confirmation of on the 5-minute with a 5-minute chalk. We had a nice flip zone that swept liquidity, and then you just place an enter and let it be, and you come back and you see it's a winner. Great trade. After this, what happened? Let me get this out of the way. After this, what happened? Price sort of came into a big 4H supply zone, and this could be the point where the pullback starts again for this range, right? So for this new range, the equilibrium is here. This is the extreme POI. This has to hold. If this does not hold, then the price, internal chalk and bullish, and then it comes back. So internal I chalk bearish, and then we get the new supply, and then we go toward run this low. So this has to hold, but it'll come in here, and then we'll see what happens, and then we might get another push upwards. So there is definitely reaction from this 4H. On the 1H, we'll come in tomorrow, analyze further what's set up for tomorrow, and then go from there. All right, guys, I hope that was clear. We had a nice entry on the 5-minute for a beautiful 10-hour win. Take care, guys. See ya. Bye-bye.